Yeah, look, man. The consciousness level of people is not at the same. So other people, their conscious is dead, totally dead. You'll find that other people they have a track record of denying truth and reality, of hiding the reality and the truth. They've got a track record of, even if you can get them red-handed on an act, che, it's not.
So because I will be required to do paternity
Paternity
test.
test.
But even then, again, the abortion rules maybe needs to change because it is to have an abortion. Anybody walks in there, a boyfriend and a girlfriend who's actually a married woman can walk in with a boyfriend, to go and say, I'm here to terminate.
And there is this other group of people that they know that this is, and then it hits them. But they do not have the guts to tell. Because if they can disclose that this is not the child, they've got more to lose.
However, we are seeing that people are dying from this. Some men, when they find the truth, they even want to kill that child.
Yes.
You find that a man says, for 20 years or 15 years, I want my money back that I've spent on this child. But sometimes it's not even about the money, it's betrayal. Welcome to Insightful Exchange, where ideas and conversations are deliberated. Today we are discussing a conversation or a topic or a subject matter that is so close to our heart. This subject is close to the man's heart and is so close to the woman's heart. It's very close to a man's heart because a man does not want, a situation where they find themselves raising children that are not theirs. And on the other hand, you've got women who have kept a secret about the true identity of their child's father. Now, today we're going to be talking about paternity fraud, or reasons why women hide children from their biological fathers. I'm not alone. I'm with my co-host, Mr. Lemon, to help me delve into this matter, to see how we can help you. If you are a woman at home sitting there listening to this, knowing very well that you've got a child that you have hidden from their biological father, please stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. If you are a father who is suspecting that he's raising a child that is not his, don't go anywhere. Listen to this conversation. Mr. Lemon, how are you this afternoon?
I'm good, man. And you?
I'm fabulous. I can't complain. We
Yes.
are dealing with issues on a daily basis, man, and we are seeing people coming forth saying to us, Elijah, we've got this issue in our society, we've got this issue in our families. Please help us. This particular issue came from one of our viewers or followers that said, I want to understand.
Yes.
Why do women hide children from their biological fathers? And it got me very worried, and I was pondering on it, but I know because I'm dealing with them. And I want to share with you a bit that, the research on this particular subject, it's a bit vague. It's not clear, and for obvious reasons, but we know that about 15 to 25% of fathers raise children who are not theirs because the mother has kept the true identity of the true father away from the child and told this other man that this child is yours. I don't know if you've encountered that in a society, but if you did, I want us to talk about it, man.
Yes.
What is your take on this?
Yo, man, what a topic, what a tough one. There are topics we dealt with, man, which I thought that they were tough in terms of drilling into the hearts, into the core of people. But this one, I can tell you that it's a painful discussion that which you are engaging on. It's a discussion that many women do not want to hear talked about, and so many men who have come into the knowledge that they might have raised the children that which were not theirs, and they realize later,
Eesh,
after so much expenses, probably that which they have put into that. Then some they are suspecting, for that matter, to say this child, it does not look like it's mine,
one,
and,
yeah.
and in many ways, in behavior, in look, and so on. So it's a difficult topic, but we need to deal with it, and then to arrive where the community is also assisted to say, this is the reality at hand. This is what is happening. And we find that as you have given the statistics in terms of how this is prevalent, and of course those statistics are not that accurate, because the fact and the truth is that there are many children that are not in that statistic, accounted for,
Yes.
because not only the woman in this instance, but the family, there's other people connected to this woman, that they might have the knowledge that this child is the father, that which is given to this child is actually not the father. This child has another father somewhere, and then they stay on that, and it becomes the truth that which they said, we go with it to the grave. And then on the other hand, you have this child that at the end of the day learned later in life, probably this child knew that this is my father, but later the child is thrown with this bomb, and then realized to say, this is not my father, was not my father, and so on. The trauma in that. So there is a difficulty. So this subject, it cuts across to everyone connected to this topic, gets frustrated about this subject. But I want to probably to bring some circumstances around this subject, to say there are people that which, or women, who will hide their children outside of marriage. So you find it that probably neba jola nyana, and then probably she had multiple relationships, and then these multiple relationships, and then one gotten her pregnant, because there is this philosophy or idea, if I may, that which comes across, which says the mother knows the father of the child. And then now the mother, in the knowledge of the father of the child, to say, this is the father of the child, but is not the man that which I like so much.
Doesn't have money, this one.
Yeah, this one does not have money. So then you pick up one other reason why the identity of the child then is hidden, to say there is a value of money. So this woman weigh to say, in these people whom then is having money. Of course, we know that women, they look different things into men. Some others are charmed to say, this one looks like he's a good father, because probably has seen this brother taking care probably of his siblings, and then when he's among children, and then now a woman
So he
wants,
desires
there, because wants security. Probably that this woman was frustrated that her life was not fathered that well. So now when he sees that in her selection of the guys that which are around him, there is one who has that fatherly heart, and then but is not the one that impregnated her, then and then it's this thing that yeah. So thola ukuthi then this man, because he's in the relationship, and then uyazi naye ukuthi ngeke ngangena lapha ngashaya, and then it becomes difficult then to say no, it's not me. So that is one element, but also you find on the other elements of which we're going to break further. The other elements is it's already in marriage. And then that's where now it's much more painful, of course. It's in marriage that either this woman had an external affairs, either it's a it was a hit and run,
A once-off
a
thing.
once-off
yeah.
thing,
Ish.
maybe at work,
At work,
or wherever, and then now there is a pregnancy, and
And I'm married.
and I'm married,
And I only want to work. I don't even go out on weekends. I'm
Yeah.
just going to work on daily basis, coming back home.
sure,
Yeah.
and look, Mr. Elijah, the thought of saying in marriage there is more of those children,
Yeah.
it breaks the heart.
Yeah. And but the sad part is that most people who are married don't realize that they are raising children that are not theirs.
Sure.
And I mean, I have first-hand experience, and I can tell you now that, of all the 100% of my clients that I said go and do paternity test, 100% of them, the children were not theirs.
Sure.
And these people are now, some of them, in marriage. Unfortunately, we can't disclose due to
Yes, yes.
confidentiality or so. But you are raising a very pertinent point here, because now in marriage on its own is an institution of trust.
Yes.
And I should not be worried when my wife goes to work thinking, what is she doing there? But here's this woman coming back saying, I've been to work and I've been loyal to you, but there is a pregnancy which I cannot deny because I'm married to this person. And yet I'm raising this child that, and what even worse, you find that this is a child in the middle. And there's another child that come after that. So
Yeah.
it becomes a bit difficult to say, but there's an issue here that this
Yes.
child might not be mine. So I trust that my wife has been loyal,
Yeah.
and therefore I raised this child. Now, how then do we deal with a situation like that? I mean, here is Joe in this marriage, and here's this child, or in other cases, there are 3 children that are not his, and he's not even aware. He only wake up one day to realize that in actual fact he was impotent. He couldn't have children.
Yeah.
He didn't even know that. He only finds out due to an accident of some sort when he was in hospital, and only to realize that there is no DNA match between himself and all these 3 children. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, man. Look, they say we laugh even in the funeral.
Unfortunately.
Though this is not a laughing matter,
yeah.
as hard it is. You brought something very critical to say. Sometimes we would want to identify our children by how they look. To say, okay, this one looks, and then we identify who in the family. Like you've put a very nice example to say probably is a child after other 2 children,
Yes.
and so on. And then you find that this child that is not the father's has the likeness of the other two, or the mixture of.
Yes.
And it becomes therefore difficult to say this is not my child. And behaviorally so, you'll find that as the child grows, of course, there are others that goes to an extreme that really they show that this one is another branch. We can look on that. But now you find that because he's in the household, then he learns how the other families behave. Therefore, the behavior also will not kind of change in some ways.
Will be similar.
Will be kind of similar in greater extent. But the painful, as we said, to say, is that it's easy to hide such children in marriage. Because there is no questions. No people that are going to question you other than like when it's outside of marriage or before marriage. When people are not married and then they're pregnant, then they ask, who's that pregnant?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But when you are married, no one is going
Nobody's
to
ask questions.
No
Yeah.
one asks questions.
Yeah.
And then the women, because there will be those women, but you'll find the other women, they would know that. And then they would go through some trauma. Their trauma can go into other extremes. The extreme is either to fight more of this man that which is married to, but in many instances is that this woman can start to be so loving and kind to this man that is married to. And then you find that there is this change. And then you might say it comes from the pregnancy. The pregnancy have changed my wife to be...
Meanwhile, I'm hiding my secret.
Like actually, yes, actually is hiding the secret so that there is no extra investigation.
Yes.
Even after
There's no suspicion.
There's no suspicion at all. But we needed to bring to the viewers to say, when the woman changed drastically to that, it does not mean that is hiding the pregnancy.
It's hiding something,
yeah. But here we play all the cards.
But you are saying to me, basically, if I'm listening to you, that we actually have signs that if we pay attention, we can see that something is wrong somewhere. And obviously, I will bring in my 2 cents worth in terms of what to look for. And this is based on my own experience with what I've seen in relationships where there was a child who did not belong to the father, but the wife has said, this is your child. So are you telling me that we are able to determine or to see if we have an eye, to see that something is fishy here?
Yes, we can. We can do that. But now remember the human element always plays a role. And then also sometimes our suspicions, we would want to say, no, it's not. This cannot. Because why it's like that? Because what happens sometimes is that you've got the evidence of this wife's presence. You cannot think that this wife can go outside and then have an extra...
You trust them.
Yes.
You are in a relationship of trust.
Yes. Yeah. We know circumstances where there are men who take their wives to work and then they
Pick
collect
them up,
and
yes.
pick them up and then it's home. So you'd never ever think, we do not, please, we need to bring this, I need to bring this more and more to say, we do not want to bring too much suspicion, not men, to say now they have to start to be suspicious.
You give them video recorders of some sort to say, honey, I want you to have this recorder every time at work.
Yeah.
I want to see. Because it only takes 2 minutes. In an office, close the door, boof, it's done, pregnancy.
Even a minute.
Yeah.
Even a minute. Boom. And then it's done.
Yeah.
And then there's pregnancy.
Hey, we are in trouble, bro.
Yes, and then you say, but look, there are men who are crying tears now who later realize that there was a pregnancy that was not his, and then does not understand how did it happen, when, how? Because I'm dropping this wife at work. I'm picking my wife.
I'm even checking you on the phone during the day.
All the time, every time.
Yeah,
but there is a pregnancy. Later, I realized that was not my child.
And I'm sure you'd agree with me when I say that the workplace has become a breeding place for this kind of things. And we spoke about proximity, that, people think they're in love and because of this proximity, so they steal time. So at work, it's ripe, the workplace is ripe for such affairs to happen in that way. And maybe we'll talk about how to avoid that, later on.
Yes.
But I want to ask you a question, man of God, that why then, if the relationship, number one, is a relationship of trust, number one, number two, if we have to fear the Lord, why doesn't this person come home and say, honey, I'm pregnant and the child is not yours? And this is what transpired. Let me be honest. Why can't they speak about it? Why are they so afraid, if they are afraid? And or what causes them then to end up saying, I'm going to keep quiet. This man is going to raise this child, and I'm going to watch him every day, loving this child, calling this child my golden boy or golden girl, and I'm going to look at him and say, you've got no idea, and I'm not going to say anything. Does not that also border on the... a level of evilness? I mean, how do I watch my husband every day, knowing very well that this is Job's child, this is not Lemon's child, and in fact, to a point whereby I force Lemon to have a special relationship with this child. And I mean, this is in a marriage setup. I know of situations whereby most men are being chased to maintenance court by a woman who knows very well that this is not his child. I know of men in other countries who have been taken to jail for failure to pay maintenance for children who are not theirs, and the wife or the woman knows that it's not his child, but let him rot in jail. Please take me through all these scenarios. Help me to understand. In a marriage, why can't this woman free this man to say, Baba Bongani, I no lo aksuako. La, I went out of my way to steal.
Yes.
This came up. What is the reasons for that?
Yeah, look, man, the consciousness level of people is not at the same. So other people, their conscious is dead, totally dead. You'll find that other people, they have a track record of denying truth and reality, of hiding the reality and the truth. They've got a track record of, even if you can get them red-handed on an act, che, it's not na. It's not hasin na. Awyang suge. This is not my. So they've got a track record of denying, and they deny even with evidence. So there's people who are at that extreme. So it's natural for them.
So it's dead in here.
It's dead.
They feel nothing.
Yes.
So they feel nothing for this child. They feel nothing for you. They feel nothing for marriage. They feel nothing for God.
To the point, where they become convinced that actually this is your child.
Yeah.
So there is that level of people who, in terms of when we come in terms of lie, because there's people that have got pathological liars, that their lie ultimately becomes truth to them.
So they will deny the DNA test sitting here to say, here, Lo Baba is not the father 99.9%. They will say, no, this thing is wrong.
This thing is wrong.
This thing is cooked.
Can be wrong. Yeah, science can be wrong. This thing is cooked.
Yeah.
Someone is after me.
Yes.
And then if it's not someone, there are spirits that are
bewitching
after
us.
me. Yeah, we are being bewitched. I don't sleep with anyone. I did not sleep with anyone.
This is your child.
This is your child.
Look at that nose.
Yes. Look at that nose. Is this child not the same like that one?
Yes.
Yeah, that child is
And
this.
are you telling me you drop me at work every day? You pick me up at work. You call me at work. Where do you think I found time to do this?
Yeah.
Now it turns back. You start to think maybe I'm imagining things.
Yes.
So are you telling me that people go to that extent to say, I'm going to keep this a lie and make you even believe that, in fact, you are the father of this child?
Definitely. There are those people. And then you find another people. You have another people who, those they are on their extreme, but we have those people. Then there is this other group of people that they know that this is, and then it hits them. But they do not have the guts to tell. Because if they can disclose that this is not the child, they've got more to lose.
So they want to protect this life that they have.
Yes.
And if you look at it, you find that the guy they slept with at work, he stays in a flat, he does not even have much, he's just fun.
Yes.
But you are a father, you are a caring husband, you take care of them. So if they will tell you that this child is Mateu's child,
yes,
you are more likely to lose all that. So they don't want to risk that. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely. And then it comes into that. And then remember, to an extreme, when as they are married, our conversation is that we don't stand for divorce. To say, if then this relationship will end into the divorce through this engagement, that for extramarital affair, that she's going to lose into that marriage. She's going to lose anything, even if they got married into the community of property. So she's going to lose a lot.
So there's a lot to lose.
Yeah, there's a lot to lose. But also, apart from monetary values and the comfort, because remember, it does not matter how in the marriage there are strifes and difficulties, but it gives security. So marriage gives security to say, now, if now I'm out of marriage, a lot of securities from me are off.
They're gone.
It's the mental security, is the heart security, financial security,
These
family
children,
security.
You know, that
Yes.
they have got a lovely home and they're secured, they're confident, it will break them as well.
It will break. It will break the family into pieces,
Yeah,
basically. So now they say, I rather go into the grave with this.
But doesn't that now, and I'm talking about the security, doesn't it now promote this lying? Because if people know that they're going to lose a lot, why then do I want to come out and speak about it now? But I want to also bring in another aspect here, which I want you to help me with. What we've also seen, and this is worldwide as well, it's not only happening here. What I've also seen is that then the husband finds out that the second child is not his, or whatever, both of them, whatever the case is. And then he then decides, okay, we're going to keep it a secret. I will raise this child. What causes that? Let's talk about that now we've got a woman who says, okay, I don't want to mess up the security.
Yes.
But then here's a husband who finds out that the child is not his. And he goes to collude with the wife to say, okay, I'm not very happy with this. I'm actually very upset. And who's the father? And the woman says, it's Mateo at work. Does Mateo know? No, don't tell him.
Yes.
I will raise this child. Don't even tell your mother. I won't tell. What causes that this man is willing now to accept this? And what does that do to him at this point?
Yeah. Yo, man. Hey, man, why these questions, man? And that's life, you know. That's life.
Kunzima, because we are dealing with these things on a daily basis. I mean, as we're speaking right now, we've got a gentleman right now sitting at home on his couch, listening to this conversation, shaking his head.
Yeah.
Because he realized, I am that gentleman they're speaking about.
Yes.
And at this moment, he's probably watching this thing on his big screen TV. These children are busy playing around in the house. He's looking at them and saying, you're hot. Look at them.
Yeah.
These guys are talking about me.
Yeah.
And the wife is sitting there quiet, knowing, yay, this is our family.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Look, I'll bring few grounds in that. The first ground, it could be financial muscles of the woman.
Yes.
To say this man comes to accept that because of the financial muscles, and then knowing that if then I fight, then I will also lose out. So let me accept this. Though the man is really cracked. And you find it that
it's killing him.
Yeah, it's killing him. And then you find now the behavior of this man also starts to change. Now becomes a drunkard and so on. There's depression and all of that. So that is...
It's dying on the inside.
Is dying on the inside. And then that's number one. Number two and three, it will be... I'm combining this because they might interlink. To say it could be that this man now he's got a kind of an alibi, something to work on.
Yes.
To say now I've
got you here.
Now I've got a license now that I can also go and do that outside. So I can also do that, or he has already been doing that. He's already probably having other children outside, and then for receiving this other child probably is paving a way to introduce other children that also that he's been longing to introduce.
That's his ace card.
Yes, that is his ace card. So that is one thing. But I want to bring something on top of that. You say it will be this husband that which then accept and say, let's sit with this. But we know that there are also other instances where it's not just the husband, but the family of the woman that knows that this woman has got the child. And then this happens many times if is a child within the family. Is a child probably through the uncle that which they came over into the house. Or anyone closer into the family, and they want to hide this.
Protect the family.
To protect the family. And then they say this, and then this, and this is one of the privilege. I don't know if this would require us to talk of it separately because when you look at it, it's called also kind of very much in depth and it has so much pains and hurts in them.
So maybe we should come up with the family secrets.
Family secrets.
Yes, maybe we should have a separate topic on
Yes.
family secrets because there's a lot
Yes.
that families are keeping for whatever reason. So maybe let's one day have a whole segment dedicated to family secrets. But while you are on that, I want to take you back to the reasons why the fathers would decide, let's keep it a secret, I'll raise this child.
Yes.
Where don't you think that at some point as well, the embarrassment, number one, plays a role.
Yes.
Number two, the broken ego plays a role to say, people will say, yes, somebody, made you a child.
Yeah.
So this man is protecting their ego to say, I don't want people to undermine me, if they know that this is not my child. Number two, you find that the father has now created a bond with this particular child, but the father has got two other children that he loves so dearly. So he loves all these three children. And even though this child is not his, but they are all siblings.
Yes.
Even though it's not his.
Yeah, but they are siblings.
They are siblings.
Yeah.
So he's sitting there, he's afraid that the moment he has to single out this child, he might have to force this child to go. When this child goes, that means the child will have to go with the mother. When the mother goes, the mother will have to go with the other children.
Yeah.
So the father as well has got a lot to lose in that instance. So maybe to protect his ego, it's better that he say, let me raise this child. And as much as that is not ideal, but when he looks at the dynamics, he realizes that either way, he's losing himself, he's losing his children, he's losing his marriage, he's losing his comfort, he's losing his home. So a man in this case also stands to lose a lot, including himself. Isn't that what's happening?
Yes, that's another element, that's another truth in terms of how then this man accept this child. And then he has a conversation with himself. There's ego, there's all of that of course he wants to protect. I want to bring another one as well to say, apart from that, because what we have brought in, it has the elements of what I'm bringing in, that there are other men who are just basically good, who've got a good heart.
Good heart, yes.
Yes, who forgives, who are able, who've got that resilience in them, that element of forgiving. And then who understands whenever they made marriage vows to say, in goodness and in bad time.
Hey, this is a very, very bad time.
It's a bad time. It's a bad one. Remember other people's makeup. People who've got the hardiness trait in them. They calculate life. Before things happen, they calculate misfortune events to say, if this happened, this is how I'm going. So when that happened for them, they're already
prepared,
build a muscle within them to carry that.
Yeah.
So they create all of those events. So when that happened to such men, it's something that they've already played around and they have created to say. They say these are people. There are people who know that people are not perfect. Anyone can make a mistake or an error, however, but these mistakes are different. And then this says to this man, whenever they make conversations, probably if this woman come and say, look, I'm pregnant, but this pregnancy is not yours. This a man who says, what if I was not married to this woman and then I love her and then she comes with pregnancy?
Child,
how was I going to react? And then we'll say, I'll still accept her.
I will raise that child.
I will raise that child.
Yeah.
Because indeed there are many men who have come into that space who have fell in love with pregnant women, that which they knew that this is not my pregnancy.
Sometimes, yeah. So they even took a woman who's pregnant
yes.
at the time they met her. And they raise this child as theirs.
as theirs.
Yeah.
And this child will never know that this is not my
Not
father.
my father, yeah.
And then they
Until
sit
the
on
mother
them.
tells him, don't forget when I do, this is not your child. Forgetting what this man went all out for both of them.
Definitely, definitely. There are stronger men
Yeah.
who can be able to absorb that. Who can be able to absorb that. Let's take Joseph for an example. I know it might be an extreme example,
Sure.
that which we bring in, but the Bible tells us to say Joseph was a good man. He had a good heart, and then in his good heart, when he realized that Mary was pregnant, then he wanted to go in secret so that he does not even embarrass her. But then God had to intervene and say, look, this is not man's intervention. And then he took with that bait and then he raised Jesus as his, and then with other siblings, of course. So there are men who've got that good heart that they can be able to absorb.
But
and
help me
nurture
quickly
this
here, a man of God. And and I wouldn't want us to get into an argument regarding the Jesus story.
Yeah.
But here's a man sitting there listening to this story, and he's saying, but the Jesus story is an anomaly.
Yes.
And because even Joseph, when he realized that Mary was pregnant, he said, no, I'm not taking this.
Yes.
This is in a flesh state.
Yes.
To say, I'm not taking this. But obviously, when God comes to him, now he realized, this is, so Mary was not unfaithful. So this is a God's child,
Yes.
and this is for a bigger purpose. So
Yes.
in that case, I will take this child.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about Brajo, Koso Shanguve.
Yeah.
His wife comes home. He was impregnated by Brapita or
Yeah.
Exang Acha.
Yes.
Every time she goes there, Argorega Acha.
Yeah.
Kandi she goes there to be busy with Brapita.
Eish.
Brajo does not have that kind of strength that Joseph had.
Yes.
And maybe he does not even have the grace, where he's able to connect with God at a spiritual level.
Yeah.
Here is a man who's sitting in his house right now, hearing this news that I'm pregnant, the child is yours. It's not yours.
Yes.
Are we not going to expect this man to be so crazy and mad and out of character because he feels so betrayed by this woman, regardless of how strong this man could be?
Yes.
And I'm saying this so that if there's a woman at home who is sitting with this situation, how then do we best manage it in such a way that Barajo does not stand up, pull out a knife or a gun and shoot at this woman and say, you betrayed me?
Yeah.
Is there a room for us as a society to actually deal with this in the best possible way like Joseph did?
Yeah, look, the truth is, I like the story of Joseph because after he learned that, he reacted
Yes.
in the flesh as a
yeah.
normal person. That means it does not matter how strong you are. Such matters will bring that reaction unto you. Of course, our reaction time is not at the same. So other people are instant in their reaction. Some will kind of understand you now. And then 2-3 weeks down the line, or 6 months for that matter, they start to realize, but they told me something. And then you find that
This thing doesn't make sense.
yeah, it does not make sense. That time when they told me, it did not click to this person to say. And then it makes sense later, or when the child now is born, to say, God, I was told, man.
Yeah.
And then they start to react there.
Yeah.
So the reaction at time, it's not the same with people. So what we are saying to say, it does not matter how strong you are, there will be that reaction. It doesn't matter how good you are, there will be that reaction. And then after some time, then you process that information. And then in this instance, I want to bring that and tally it to say, in this instance, then the Holy Spirit came and spoke with Joseph, or the angel came to speak with Joseph to say, there was a divine intervention. To say, in every good heart, there will be that divine intervention, that which makes us then to absorb this. But it's not for everyone. That's the thing. As the example you are bringing in to say there's joy in Haman's kraal, and then Peter came and Chow here. It becomes difficult. And then that is why you find that other people without, remember, not all comes during pregnancy. Some it's learned very late. And then you find it that other men are unable to absorb that.
Yeah.
And then we would hear the cases where now this man killed everyone.
Because now he's had 6 years with this child.
Yes.
Spent money on this child, loved this child,
Eish.
and he feels like his love is also betrayed. That why did you even allow me to have a bond, such a strong bond with this child, only to wake up one day and tell me this is not my child? But what also
then sorry, just to come and then you find that this child that actually this man has bond so much closely with has actually become best to him.
Yes.
Best to him than his own.
He's the favorite child.
He's a favorite child, and this child kind of there's this connection with this child, and this child probably we find that is much more brilliant as well, is doing well even at school, and then than the rest of the other children, and then now the results come or it discovers to say, hey, actually this one is not yours.
But let's do this quickly. There's a situation now where the father says, okay, the child is not mine. Whose child is this? And you find that the wife does not want to come out clean. Instead, he says it was so and so, but he passed away. You know, she's still hiding the real father because she knows that if the husband were to find out who the real father is, that would be chaos because, you know, it's Elijah asking his wife, whose child is this? And my wife knows this is Lemon's child. So if Elijah were to find out that this is Lemon's child, all hell will break loose.
All hell will break loose.
So now the wife then create a dead person to say, no, you remember that guy who died, you know, who was my ex, it's him. And we still hide the true identity of this child because what creates a problem is that if you say it is that guy who died, one day it happens that you die and this child falls ill for whatever reason. And depending on what we believe in, let's assume we believe in ancestors and we go to a traditional healer who says, take this child to the family.
Sure.
And out of pitying this child, realizing how the child is suffering, I then take the child to a guy who died. Only to get there and realize actually this child does not belong here.
Sure.
Now I'm sitting here with the child. I don't know how to help this child because I don't know who the real father is.
Sure.
And the mother has passed away. What are the consequences of hiding the true identity?
Man, you touched another. Remember, we help everyone here.
Yeah.
We help those who are traditionalists, those who are Christians.
Yes.
So our conversation goes.
Yes.
And then this matter, it's much more harder to the traditionalists.
Yes.
It's much more harder. How is it harder? Because when the child is born, then Christians, they dedicate the child to God. Then they bring the child to the church and it's dedicated. But to the traditionalists, they dedicate this child to the ancestors.
Which ones?
And then now you bring this child to the ancestors and they don't know this child in the African tradition when we bring that. And then now you find now this child grows up normally, basically, and then we'll have matters. You touch the nerve there when you say, now this child, his life, it becomes otherwise. And then when you go for consultation and then they tell to say, take this child to his family. And then which family? And you find that if you do not know, then you continue to take this child, probably got Phiri. And this child is not the Phiri. It was Masombuga somewhere.
But let's say the mother doesn't die. The mother is alive. The mother has said the child belongs to the guy who died. Both the mother and the father are alive. They come home and they look at each other in the eyes and they say, the child is struggling. We're going to have to bite the bullet and take the child to her Phiri.
Yeah.
This woman knows very well, this is not Phiri's child.
Yeah.
This is Masombuga's child. What happens there?
Yeah. Look, there are people whose heart we spoke earlier on, their level of evil has just gone up. It's at another level. They protect their skin. It does not matter who dies in the
suffers,
process.
yes.
It does not matter who dies in the process. They protect their skin. They protect their blood to say, this, let whatever happens, let it happen.
I'd rather have this child die.
This child can die. But this truth is not going to come out.
What level of evil is that?
And unfortunately, that's where we are. That's the world we live in, where people can go into that extreme. I know I do not want to be fictitious, but there is this series. I don't know if it's sitcom or what. It goes on TV. There is Umkoka. I don't know. Some people they watch that Umkoka. So there is this woman Mamzobe that now is going crazy because of the secrets that which she has kept. She has arrived into the point that let me die if I die.
I'm not speaking about
Yes, and let everyone. And this woman lost family members in the process. They died
because of this
children,
secret.
Yeah, because of this secret. Her children died, but he says, I cannot bring this up.
Yo.
I run. So you find, I look at that, there is that level. It looks fictitious, but it's the truth of the matter that there are people who live in that world, in the world of saying, I will protect,
It's actually
I will protect
reality.
myself.
It's
a reality.
Yes. It happens in the black families.
Yes, it happens
Yeah.
in the black families. And then now we spoke to say, for the traditionalists, it's very bad. It's very bad. And you find that because there are rituals. Now, the presence of rituals, they elevate problems, basically. So there are rituals dedicating this child and bring this child kwa Phiri kanti wakwaMasombuka
They
somewhere.
probably reject this child as well because they don't know the child.
Yes. And then you give this child to the ancestors of another family. And this child then becomes uncontrollable. The behavior is uncontrollable. The lifestyle, sometimes is other sicknesses. And then ultimately this child later sekuthiwa unomoya sekakhulile kufanele ayotwasa.
Unnecessarily.
While there is absolutely nothing of that kind. It's a secret that this child does not belong in this family.
Yeah. So the child is troubled by that. But, I mean, I see what you are saying where people say we are going to the grave with this. And it's life, it happens every day. Is there a point, even on your deathbed, where you are saying, I'm on my deathbed now, I'm going to say this because I might not wake up tomorrow morning? And we see that even at that point, people still say, no ways.
Yeah, there's people who have made vows with
So
themselves.
it's a vow.
Yeah, there's a vow.
They're not going to break it. It's done.
To say, this to the grave I go with.
I see.
This to the grave I go with. Let me be judged by God if I'm judged on this. But this one I go to the grave.
Now I want to come in here where I have noticed something else, whereby there are other children here. If I were to speak about this and say, this child does not belong in this house, my children might end up hating me. And I'm not willing to risk that because it will also hurt them. They will ask question, what kind of a mother, do we have? Could that be another aspect that these people are keeping this to themselves?
Yes, that is another thing because now because remember other people as we say it's not that early that is discovered. Sometimes it's discovered very late. Though we would know that some other women might believe that you are the father of this child, though they know that they had multiple sexual relations, then they believe that, okay, this by some other reasons. But later on, due to some other complications, we know there's other complications that other people, they come to know by default. Either there is a donor that which is needed to save the child.
And there's no match.
And then there's no match. And then they realize, well, actually, men...
There was an affair 10 years ago. And now it's 10 years later.
And then it's 10 years later. And then, of course, these secrets are kept to save the family many times. So what will really convince the people and really make them to live well with this secret is that I'm doing this for the family. So you find many people doing certain things in the name of the family, and then they say we'll cross that bridge, that river, when we get there.
Let me bring a different twist quickly
Yes.
here. Let's step away from a marriage setup. But here is a young, beautiful woman involved with a married man. And she loves this married man, to bits. And I don't know if the married man loves her. But then she happens to fall pregnant.
Yes.
And this woman has got another boyfriend. She's having an affair with the married man, but she's got a boyfriend
Yes.
there. And the married man comes and say, go have an abortion. And she loves this married man so much that she's willing to listen to the married man, but she's not willing to lose this child. She's saying, I want to save this relationship. I want to have it with you. The married man has said to her, if you don't abort, the relationship is gone. She wants to protect this relationship. So what does she do? She says, okay, I'll go and abort. But she doesn't. She actually goes and say to the boyfriend, I'm pregnant, it's your child. And even if this guy was not a long-term boyfriend, whether 6 months or 3 months, whatever the case is, and keeps that secret to say the child belongs to Joe, even if the relationship with Joe fails and she gets involved with another guy, she still say the child belongs to Joe and never to the married man. The married man is told, you gave me the money, I went and I had the abortion, but I fell pregnant with Joe, so the child is not yours.
Sure.
So even the married man does not know that the child is his. Everybody else thinks the child belongs to Joe. That's what Joe knows.
Yeah.
Every other man that comes after Joe know that the child belongs to Joe. How then do we talk about that? How do we explain that kind of a situation?
Yeah, it's a different twist, of course. It's a different twist that now this married man has a child, but he does not know that the child is still in existence, and then someone else. The dynamics look almost the same, just as the environments now. It's an environment to say, this is an unmarried woman, and then she gives the child to another unmarried man, if I may. So it becomes difficult. I think because the truths will have a way of surfacing. Probably later on, this married man will realize to say, hey, that child is still alive, is here. And then that's where complications, probably at that time, dynamics would have changed, that, okay, I can accept now this child. But probably the relationship might have already failed between both of them. But of course, the truth of the matter is this. There are many men, because this example you are bringing is the example of that many men raising children that are not theirs. And they do not, there is no much investigation. Because if we now want to investigate every pregnancy or every child, now it will create a very difficult in the relationship, because there's gonna be the questions of trust. Why all this drama? So if we'll go into that, but that's not the way to go, to say there should be a paternity test for every pregnancy.
But maybe we need to solve it there.
Yeah.
Maybe let's speak to the Department of Health, and maybe let's amend the laws. Because, and I'm going to tell you why I say let's amend the laws. We know that the stats are there. Every time when they take a certain number of men to do paternity tests, most of the time, 70% of those men are not the fathers.
Are not the fathers.
Yeah. Out of the group that was taken, most of the time. Now, maybe let's change the laws if we need to. But why don't we, to prevent even future problems, to also, not sit with children who are fatherless, why each and every pregnancy that is recorded in a hospital does not come out with a paternity test? Married or not married? Because it's going to solve a whole lot of problems. And as much as it can create problems, but also it will also deter people from sleeping around.
Yes.
People from cheating, knowing very well that if I were to cheat here, I can't hide this child. Because I will be required to do paternity test. But even then, again, the abortion rules maybe needs to change, because it is to have an abortion. Anybody walks in there, a boyfriend and a girlfriend who's actually a married woman can walk in with a boyfriend to go and say, I'm here to terminate.
Eish. Yeah.
Maybe the rules or the laws need to change and become much more stricter so that the people who have caused the pregnancy can be held accountable. But also, you spoke about the aspect of the traditionalist. The traditionalist needs to know, Guti, this child belongs to Masombuga.
Yes.
If we say we are going to dedicate this child to Amadlozi, the child must go to Amadlozi, am I right? Do you understand what I'm saying? So that we don't have difficulties in society whereby they say this child is troubled by Amadlozi. And he goes everywhere, but there is no lozi that can help this child because he's going to wrong lozis. So paternity results when the mother step out of the hospital will be key. And I'm going to tell you why I say they will be key. Because apart from the infidelities and the cheatings, there is a situation where children are swapped in hospitals.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's another thing.
Yeah. So if we have done the paternity, then at the point where the child leaves the hospital, we are sure that the parents have left with their own child. And that's why I always advise that even if we do a paternity for a father, in my case, I always advise my clients to say, you need to also take the child and the mother. Because you may find that the child does not belong to the mother. And you've divorced your wife already, saying they have become, unfaithful to you. Yeah. Let's take everybody to see that this child belongs to both the mother and the father. Yeah. Once we do that, then we are certain that the DNA is both of the mother and the father. If we don't do that, we're going to keep having people who are lying and hiding these paternity results.
Sure. Yeah, man, you are bringing the high level. This is the high level of the process, and we do not know how long can it take for it to either to be introduced and to be debated and accepted. To say let this be amended and that paternity is done. Of course, it has at the first of it has chaotic events. But in the process of time, people now are going to adjust to this truth to say,
used to it.
To say, look, guys, we need to be straight, we need to be right. To one another, relationships needs to be protected. So at the beginning, probably 5-10 years, I don't know how long can it take that it's going to create a chaos and people will be unsettled. But now it will create a certain mindset to say faithfulness is the key. That there should be faithfulness in relationships, that there is no crossover.
Maybe we should even start now and not let it start from the hospitals.
Yes.
We should have a campaign that if you are married and you are living with a wife and a husband and a child, there is a campaign. Bring your children for paternity tests that the government needs to fund.
Yes.
That all families need to go. If you are raising children in there, bring them. Let's just do so that you can have the certificate. Then we will avoid a whole lot of things that are happening within the family structures. However, it might cause chaos. We might sit with a whole lot of marriages that are falling apart after that.
Look what's going to happen. We know there is a lot of counselors, psychologists that needs work and clients. So the government will have to absorb that. Like it happens for HIV to say, I've not been in that process. I don't know how intense it is that when you go for HIV, then you are said you are cancelled before.
You cancelled before and you are cancelled after.
So that's going to be a situation basically.
We have to.
So counselors will need to be absorbed to say marriage counselors and so on will need to be brought in on board. So
we're going to be very busy.
Yeah, it's going to be very busy time. Definitely, it's going to be a very busy time. Pastors will need to be equipped on a special skill of really protecting the marriages. And then,
we're going to need to pray hard.
And preparing the couple and the family before they go for that and then when they come back.
But based on what you are saying to me now, and I think maybe we need to start seeing the seriousness of this matter. And maybe it's good that we keep it to ourselves, when it happens in the family structure. However, we are seeing that people are dying from this. Some men, when they find the truth, they even want to kill the child.
Yes.
You find that a man says, for 20 years or 15 years, I want my money back that I've spent on this child. But sometimes it's not even about the money; it's betrayal. It's
at the highest level.
At the highest level.
Yeah, and that's what they feel. Many men, that's what they feel. To say, I was betrayed.
I was betrayed so much that you could have at least told me on the first year. I could have made a decision to say, am I raising this child or not? But instead, for 15 years, you've watched me every day making a fool out of myself, calling myself Papa Bongani.
And that's a conversation that worsens things.
That worsens things. You've watched me calling myself Papa Bongani. You have even said to me, "Happy we're not Papa Bongani." Every day to reinforce the idea that I'm actually the biological father of Bongani, knowing very well that actually you are fleecing me. It's not the truth. Now, and I want us to come to that, whereby are there signs that we can actually observe? And look, I have seen my own signs that if a woman behaves this way, go for paternity test. And 10 out of 10 times, I was correct.
Yes.
To say, the moment she does this, and we need to be very careful here because we don't want to say things, suddenly fathers start to observe in the house.
We do our best to be careful.
To be careful.
Our conversation,
why is this child that every time when I discipline her or him, he runs outside of the yard? And the other two, when I discipline them, they come towards me. So we're not saying there could be something wrong there.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I've observed is that women who know that the child does not belong to the guy, they become, number one, very protective of that child. And number two, there is now and again an accusation that the father does not love this child like the other children. And so
there is an element of favoritism towards this child.
So the father would be accused to say, you love the other children and not this one.
Yes.
And for whatever reason. And number three, the mother would be showing extreme love to this particular child, that why do you do things for this and not the others? Number four, now and again, this child will be taken out on certain rights, with the mother alone, and the others will be left. So, men need to guard out or to look out for such things, to say, why are these things happening? Because usually the parent will be operating from guilt. And she's also trying to make sure that the father doesn't spend enough time with this particular child, just in case the father takes this child for DNA.
For DNA.
Yeah. Sure. So that particular child is always guarded in the house. And the mother, most of the time, makes decisions alone pertaining to this one child. The other children, there's no issue. But this particular one, the mother is the one who makes decisions for whatever reason. The father will not understand why, but if you dig, you realize, if you dig deeper, you realize that it's because she's protecting the secrets, that nothing should come out of this. The mother checks the Facebook account of this particular child to see if the real father is not making connections and contacts to say, I'm your father. So the mother becomes very critical as well of this particular child, because she needs to protect this secret. So I'm not saying father should just now go haywire to start to see if there's any kind of behavior that is changing. But usually you can see if something is being hidden about a particular child in the house.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, men are starting now some men, they are starting now to really run the recording in their minds.
That's not the intention. That's not the intention. Look, Lems, I think for me, we cannot stop most of these things. That's just the reality.
Yes. But and we can't stop talking the truth.
We can't stop talking the truth. But I want to condemn it in the marriage setup. And I'm going to tell you why. When people are still single, they can do whatever they want. And as much as we speak against sexual immorality, but it gives marriages bad name.
Yes, yes.
If it happens there, because then people are forced now to divorce.
Mm.
But also, you need to be careful, especially if you have already have got children in a marriage.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to mess up the life of 2 children because of 1 child. You know, you're basically messing up the life of actually 3 children, if you think about it. So it's not worth it at all that you should go out there and mess up your life, your husband's life, your children's life, your family's life, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe we need to stay away from such things, especially if we're married. Why do we even go out and have sex without protection when we're married? You know, it shows you how people don't even respect, you know, their marriage, when the Bible says the marriage union should be honored by all, and the marriage bed should be kept so pure.
Yes,
You know, that we should do our best to avoid such, you know, affairs, because they don't bring any good in any way. And especially we spoke about the traditionalists who believe in ancestral worship. What will that cause for their child? That we bring so much bad luck for our children because we go out, we sleep around, we cannot even do what is right, even to our own ancestors. You know, now with us Christians, it becomes easier because our children can get a new identity and a new family line that is now attached to the blood of Christ, which makes life easier in that way. But even with that, it does not necessarily make things easier or better. So I want to hear from you. We've got a gentleman sitting at home, number one. But we also have a woman sitting at home. He's keeping these secrets. What advice are we giving them? Let's start with the woman, and then we get to the man. Because I'm sure there's a man who says, this thing is eating me. I want to know. And I want us to be very careful here in terms of how we give them advice. You mentioned earlier on that, you know, we've got different appetites, you know, in terms of forgiveness and in terms of our tolerance. So we need to be very careful how we advise them. How do we deal with that if we find ourselves in that situation?
I think the initial stage is that when the woman then would want to confess, get some external help first.
Before you confess?
Before you confess.
So before I go confront this man, I must phone Elijah or I must phone Pastor Lemon to say, I'm in a fix. How do I deal with that? Okay? So that's the first step.
That's the first. That's the first way, and then then the matter is discussed there, and then you get counseled well. Of which then what is going to happen on the next, because this matter is not the matter that probably can be discussed with both of you. It's difficult. That probably the person you have gone to, either the pastor or the counselor or the psychologist or social worker, however that is, then can take it further, either to advise that any member from your family that knows of this, that could be part of that in that talk, because it will require also wisdom in terms of then disclosing that matter. To say, when you go to your husband as a wife, to disclose that. So, but when you've got people that which you have spoken with, not your friends here, so you need people that are kind of above in terms of training and knowledge, that probably can also go to your husband in preparation and then in conversation. Then when it's brought in a way that which seek also to build, because other people, they are unable to really communicate quite very clear, and then it can break that man or that marriage is even further.
Make things worse.
Yes, but if you've got a professional, the professional will know that how to start this conversation, and then in preparing this man, and in also availing more services in terms of rebuilding this relationship. So for me, it should probably, that should be the process. Of course, this is not a fine-tuned process. It does not mean that this will be an easier process. It's a difficult process. It will have its own difficulties, but it's always better when there is a professional that which assists you
who will
in the
guide
process.
the process.
Yes. And then you know that this is a person, even after the disclosure, will still be with both of you guys.
If he advises you to disclose,
Yes,
because
yes.
I'm sitting here thinking that he'll have to weigh the pros and cons
Definitely,
as well.
definitely.
He'll have to look at the dynamics and maybe ask a whole lot of questions. I think maybe sometimes people are scared to go out because what if this person says I must disclose and I'm not ready? So
Yeah.
it's always best that this person looks at the dynamics to say, are we disclosing or not? What are the pros and cons? And I think, you will have an opportunity to be introduced to all those dynamics that you then make up your mind and see what is, at stake.
Yes.
And depending, obviously, how is this affecting everybody, yourself, because it could be eating you every day.
Yes, yes.
And if you're sitting with it and it's eating you, there's no point to sit with it.
Yes.
We need to deal with it.
Yes.
Or you could be this person who says, Mina, I'm a diehard. Nothing eats me. It will eat them. Mina, I'm giving into Mina.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it the way it is.
Yes.
And if there's anybody who is having an issue with this, let them go and sort themselves out.
Yes.
I don't care.
Yeah, look, it's also a difficult intervention from a counselor. This one, it's quite a very difficult because you will not, even if you are a pastor, you most will find that we work with person-centered approach, getting to say, what is it that which you want to happen? Because I will not, even if you disclose that, probably to bring it to you to say you must disclose this. And then when I say disclose and then you disclose and then things go worse, the gun will be on me to say, look, pastor, what you have done. Look, doctor, what you have done. Yeah, umosheli. And then that now will really tarnish your name throughout. This person will speak everywhere how you failed. So every time we pick to say, what is it? Of course, we advise properly, we advise clearly, on the pros and the cons. But it's never an easy, however you look at it, it's never an easy process.
So
to deal with.
then what for the man? Here's a man who's just been given this news that, hey, Baba Bongani, you are no longer Baba Bongani.
Yeah.
I mean, what must that guy do? Should he also approach counseling before he makes decision? Would you advise them to do that?
Definitely would have. The other thing. Remember, certain families, they've got a different structure. Other families, they are from very strong families. That when such happen, maybe before they can get to the counselor, can call family members and say, hey, look, there is this matter.
If the structure is strong, and it has proven, to be impartial,
yes,
and not to take sides.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. So because you find in other families they've got that strong families, and then they can be able to advise and encourage. So that, because what is needed is that this man cannot absorb this matter alone. It's either there is a strength in the family that which he gets, or gets counselors, a psychologist or pastor, so that he's helped to deal with this and to
not alone, yeah.
Not alone, because we have seen when people deal with such matters alone, their character changes.
Yeah.
They changes very bad. It's either now they start to be womanizers. They start now to sleep around. They become drunkards.
So counseling will avoid all.
Will avoid that, and then then you'll find that they suffer now depression. Others they ultimately take their lives. They take the life of, and then we don't want that. We find they take the life of this woman and themselves, and then sometimes even the child. And people will say, why this happened? We don't. This man was a good man. What must have happened to this person to kill everyone? Because he must have gotten the news in a way that which was not protecting him and everyone.
Yo, hey, Baba Endlin, Mama Endlin, we don't want anybody to kill the other. Please,
Yes.
This is a serious matter. It's happening. It's out there. And if you feel like you want to talk to somebody, get in touch with us. Let us help you to deal with the matter. But if I were to advise you, refrain from adultery, refrain from sexual immorality. We shall see you again. This is Insightful Exchange. Thank you.
Amen. Shalom.